Well, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. This is episode 8 of the Sell More Printing webinar. This webinar is aimed at helping you grow your print business using today's best marketing tactics. I'm Rachel Neese. I'm the marketing director here at Marketing Ideas for Printers. And on today's agenda, we're going to look at 10 tips to maximize your social media content. So these tips will work for all of social media, any content you put on social media, but I will pull in some specific tips if you're a subscriber to our social media marketing service here at Marketing Ideas for Printers. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at two types of social media content. You can really break it down to these two types. First is curated content, and the second is original or created content. Now, one is not better than the other, and it's important to take, a don't put all of your content in one basket kind of approach and use both types of content. I'm going to explain a little bit about both types of the content so you can kind of see what I mean and why it's important to use both of them. So first, let's look at curated content. Curated content is the content that you get from external sources outside of your company. This would be similar to the Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn content that we provide through our service. So this would be finding useful, tips and articles that you found around the web and sharing those with your audience. Here are some of the benefits of using curated content. First, no one really wants to hear a company talk about themselves all the time. So you have that going for you. Second, it's relevant to your target audience. It's just useful content that you're passing along, trying to be a help. It shows you recognize the value that other companies can bring. It shows you're focused on the overall benefit to the audience. And lastly, it's time and cost efficient by using curated content. To break it down, you could really sum up curated content like this. Curated content is for cross-promotion or cross-promoting because you're using other people's content for your benefit to be helpful to your audience. The second type of content that we talked about was original or created content. Now, this is content that is written or produced by your company, and it lives on your website or blog. So this would be like the blogs that we provide. That's original content for you. This type of content is good because you own it. It represents your own unique views and expertise. It demonstrates your position as an industry leader. It's going to help you build deeper relationships with your audience. It's going to direct your audience back to your website. So let's say, for example, you were promoting a piece of content on social media, but it went to, Inc.com or entrepreneur.com. Well, that's not bringing the reader from your social media to your website, where original content using your blogs that are on your website directs your audience right from those social media pages over to your website, which is a huge benefit to you. And then lastly, it boosts your SEO. We've talked about this before in previous webinars, but every blog that you put out on your website or on your own page or on your own blog is another page that Google can crawl, or any search engine can crawl and index for content that's relevant to the searcher or the website visitor. So it's going to help boost your SEO because you just have that many more opportunities to be found on Google. So if you think of it this way, where curated content focuses on cross-promotion, original content focuses on self-promotion. And again, both are important. Nobody wants to hear about a company that talks about themselves all the time. So you're pulling in curated content, but you got to supplement or have that also original content to do some of that self-promotion as well. So now that you see the two types of content, let's look at some tips to maximize your own content. That's what we're going to move on to. 10 tips to maximize your social media content. Here's the first one. This should seem obvious, but if you're only using curated content at this point, you need to look at adding some original content. For subscribers to our content, same thing. You already have a steady stream of curated content coming to you. So now boost or maximize that content by adding original content in addition to the curated content you're already getting. We've mentioned this, or I've talked about this in a previous webinar, but the best place for you to start in creating content is to answer the questions your prospects and customers are asking. Now, this doesn't mean that all of a sudden you start trying to create 3 blogs a week and you're just totally overwhelmed. It just means that, think of this as your nudge to start thinking about how you can begin to supplement or to add to that curated content that you're getting with more original content. If you're on the flip side and you're only promoting yourself day in and day out, begin to look for some outside curated content that you can pull in as well so that you have a steady stream of both of those. To help add some original content, let's look at this next one here. So the next one here is promote your blogs on your social media channels. This one is for those of you that use our social media content. Every Tuesday and every Friday, you're getting a blog. After you get that blog, after you post it onto your blog, make sure that you grab the link and you create a social media post on your other channels to promote it. Okay, that's how you're going to pull people from your social media channels over to your website, is promoting that blog on those channels. So remember, I mentioned that this original content directs your audience back to your website. Those are the results you're aiming for on your other social media channels by promoting your blog there. I'm going to just show you how to do that. For some of you, I know this, you probably already know this, but for those that don't, I'm just going to take a couple minutes here and just show you how I would do that, or how you can do that. So this is an example of what one of the recent blog posts would look like. So this is just our demo website. So the blogs that you guys are getting are the same blogs that are here. So I posted this blog to our WordPress blog, which would be the same as you guys would do, or whatever blog platform you're using. What I would do is I would just grab this URL up here and copy it. And then I'm going to take it over to my business page on Facebook, and I'm going to paste the link here. Okay. Then I'm just going to add some like hook text in a sense. You'll kind of see what I mean. I'm going to talk a little bit more about writing this text later, but I'm going to add some text up here. And then I might even add a question to help better engage it, or I could even go further over here by writing something like share in the comments below, being specific and telling them where I want to go. So for this text though, spoiler alert, all I did was copy and paste the text right from within the article. So feel free to do the same as long as it follows the tips that I'll mention, in a minute. One thing I also want to mention as you're looking at this page, you can see that Facebook is pulling my link here, but it's not pulling the image through. You want to make sure that that image is being pulled into your post, because images are going to pull in more engagement than posts without images. So if this is what you see where it's not pulling the image, here's what you would do. You'd go back to that blog post that you were on, and you would simply right-click on the image and click Save Image As. Then you can save it to your desktop or wherever you can grab it quickly. Then go back to your post and click on the plus sign down here, click Add, and then add your image from your desktop. That way you're pulling in the image in with your link so that you're going to end up getting better engagement. So number 3 is then send your favorite blogs through email. Whether you create your own blogs or you pick out some of your favorites from the content we provide, try building an email campaign around them using the blogs as teasers. So you could send these individually, or you could even send them as topic drip campaigns. Remember, you own the content, so use it. What do I mean by content drip campaigns? Let's say we like to rotate into our blogs some storytelling blogs. So maybe you set aside, 3 of your favorite storytelling blogs, and then you send out the blogs as an email drip campaign about 3 businesses successfully using print marketing, or 3 businesses successfully upping their branding, that type of a thing, where you could collect those topics and use them as drip campaigns. But here's what I mean about making them an email. So all you need for your email is to copy the first paragraph or so of the blog text here, and then add a read more link at the bottom that then would link them to your blog. That's going to gain you some easy traffic from your email marketing and then connect them to your website. So this is a recent blog on our blog. All I have to do is start an email. I can copy the title, I can throw the image in, I can pull the first paragraph of text. If you're just copying and pasting, I would add like an ellipses, the ... and then have the read more. This one's an RSS feed, so it just pulls that automatically. But anyway, so add your ellipses, have the read more text, and it'll pop the people from their email marketing over to your website. Just a easy tip for people to boost that up a little bit. Key point I want to mention here is make sure all of the dots are connected. So if they start from the email, then they're going to get to your blog. So make sure that's connected. From your blog, if your blog is not hosted on your website, let's say it's a WordPress site, make sure you have a dot that's connected that they can get to your website. You could use that by putting a link or a call to action button in the blog to say visit your website, or it could just be a sidebar thing. It could be in the footer, some way that then has them to your website if it's not hosted on your website. If you follow the tips in these webinar series, and I showed you how to add a blog to the footer of your website, well, then you could have this read more link down here at the bottom be the URL or the website address to that custom page that we created on your website. So I think that's maybe 2 episodes back, episode 6 maybe, that showed you how to do that. So that's another way to do that, but just making sure that all of those dots are connected, that you're getting the most benefit or return on investment for that work you're putting in. Another thing you can do with this is to use the ideas collection content. Pull the title of the latest ideas collection tip, throw in one of the images from that tip, add the first paragraph with an ellipses, ... and a read more. Boom, there you've got an email campaign that you can send out your email marketing and get them to your website. With this one, or with the ideas collection, the read more link would bring them directly to your website. You wouldn't have to worry about connecting your blog, those types of things. So that's just an idea for you that could help maximize that social media content. So now we interrupt this broadcast. Now we're going to shift our focus a little, and we're going to talk about ways that you can specifically tweak the content, both the curated content we provide and your own content, to make it work better for you. So since we're kind of switching directions, I wanted to make sure you realize that. So number 4 is invite conversations through questions. This is probably the simplest thing that you can do to increase engagement, but when you customize your content, see if you can add a question to it. Now, we do this periodically in the writing already, but work to encourage conversation by welcoming them to comment. Asking a question is just an easy, non-threatening way to get them engaged. So let's look at what that might look like. For example, let's say the content that we sent you, or your original content, looked like this. The title of the article was 9 tips to move you from good to great customer service. Well, if you switch that and add it and make a question, you could do things like, what things does your business focus on to provide excellent customer service? Share your thoughts in the comments. You can see the difference between the before and the after, how much more welcoming the after comments are. Just a tip down here, you can skip the headline in your engagement text or this text, and instead have the headline show up with the link. When the platform pulls that link, it's going to show the headline of the article anyway. So you can skip that in your engagement text and just use that real estate up there to pull the audience in and invite them into a conversation with questions. Did you know that just by adding a question mark, it's been reported that you'll see 23% more engagement? So if you want to maximize it, see if you can tweak that content to pull in a question. Number 5, focus on your audience. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see in other printers on social media. They make the mistake of making it all about them. They look at the social media and those Facebook posts as an opportunity to brag about themselves. And that's one of the reasons why curated content is so good, because you're not bragging about yourself. You're just being a helpful source. And that's what I want you to remember and focus on. It's always about your audience. So here are a few tips to help you kind of rein in that self-promotion tendency. First, always write your posts in second person. So use words like you and your, not we, us, or our. Here's an example of that. So the wrong way to promote something on social media would be, we just launched our new online design tool, Design Edit. Well, great. That's all about you. How does that help me? So if you do it the right way, focus on your audience and write in second person, it would be, you can now design your own print marketing materials from anywhere with an all new tool designed to make your life easier. Okay. So, I mean, which one is more inviting to you? Probably this one, right? Because it's all about you and pulling you in, and that's what we're focused on. The next one that'll help you focus on your audience is to remember the PAS formula in your writing. I've talked about this before, but even in the tiny little snippets that you do for social media, remember this formula and it will help you get better engagement. The PAS formula simply stands for problem, agitate, solve. Or to put it another way, here's the problem. Imagine what it would be like getting the problem solved. And lastly, here's how to get there. Now, if I put this into a real life example, I'm talking about Design Edit again, it looked like this. Creating good print design takes time. That's my problem. I'm going to agitate it. Imagine doing it in less than 10 minutes and still looking like a pro. And then I'll solve it. Here's how. And I could put my link to Design Edit. You could do this with any of the articles or content that we provide, curated or original. But just use those tips to remember to keep your focus on your audience and not use it as a soapbox then to promote yourself. Okay, next one is use the right type of content for the platform. So this works again for your original content and for the curated content. Remember, there's no content police out there. So if you receive content from us, for example, for Twitter that you think would be better on LinkedIn, you have every right, and in fact, I encourage you, copy and paste it to a different channel. So here are some guidelines to keep in mind for keeping the right content on the right channel. So on Facebook, this is where you want to focus on telling stories and engaging with different communities. LinkedIn, you're looking more business oriented. You want to be the expert, give advice, and share industry news. On Twitter, it's super short and sweet. Your mission is just to become the news source or to have those headlines. And then on Instagram, if you're using that, that's more of like a show and tell to kind of showcase what's happening. So make sure you're using the right type of content, writing the right way for the channel that you're focused on. Number 7 is special days and hashtags. So a fun way that you can kind of pull in more engagement is to begin to use hashtags or to celebrate special days like, National Bread Baking Day or something odd like that. You can do a simple Google search for a hashtag calendar and you'll get tons of results for hashtags that you can use on special days. For example, here are some hashtags and special days just from this week. So today, February 13th, is Mardi Gras World Radio Day. tomorrow you've got Valentine's Day. February 15th is Singles Awareness Day. February 17th, Random Acts of Kindness Day. So you can kind of pull in and build some of that teaser content around these hashtags, or use the curated content you're receiving from us in the morning, and then in the afternoon, try and find something funny or unique or your own that you could work in conjunction with these hashtags. So for those of you that subscribe to our social marketing service, if you're thinking, well, why don't you just do all this for us? Well, here's why we don't. So Printer A might think that promoting Singles Awareness Day is hilarious, but Printer B might not want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. So this is why our mission is to give you a secure jumping off point that you can be confident using it as it is, or you can customize it and give it your own unique flair. But we don't ever want to send you something where you feel like you have to change it. It's more like if you hit the button by accident and didn't do anything with it, it would be fine. And that's our goal. Okay, number 8 is don't be afraid to ask. Now, I know we talked about asking questions, but this is a little bit different. What I mean by this one is don't be afraid to ask, as in your call to action. So call to actions are important even on social media. And I don't necessarily mean, slapping a call to action button on it. What I mean is if you want your audience to do something, you need to ask them. And what exactly is it you want them to do? So do you want them to like your page? Do you want them to follow you? Do you want them to share your post? So remember to ask them in your content exactly what you want them to do and keep asking them. So if you're using original content and you want them to go to your blog, you could say something like, read more on our blog at, and give them that action that you want them to do. If you're just trying to increase your page followers, then you might say something like, like great tips like this, follow our page, or, like us and follow us on Facebook, stuff like that. Okay, number 9 is add emojis. So if you're using your own content, it's gotten pretty easy to add emojis right from your keyboard. But it's important to know that posts with emoticons receive a 57% higher like rate. That means that we should be putting in emojis and emoticons when we can to help boost that like rate. If you're not familiar with how to do this, like I said, a lot of platforms will just allow you to put in your emojis right from your keyboard. However, if you're using our content or you're not sure, there are a couple of good resources out there that you can use for that. One of them is called copypastecharacter.com, and another one is called emojipedia.org. This one will also show you what the emoji will look like on each of the different systems. So I'm going to show you what it would look like just to add some emoticons or some emojis into your content that you get from us. So when you see your content, this is what it looks like when it comes to your email. And let's say you're like, this is kind of boring. I want to add in some, emoticons or stars or something here. All you need to do is click your post to Twitter. And here you get the same content, but you get it in an editable text box kind of thing. So I threw some stars in there, and the way I did that was I went over to, I used copy paste character in this case. I went over to copypastecharacter.com, and all I did was slid my mouse over the icon that I wanted and, clicked copy or right click to copy it. And then I came back and I just clicked, paste, and I just added them there. Once I've got them in here, I can highlight them and copy and paste them, wherever I want to put them, anywhere in here. But that's just a simple way that you could just bump up that content by adding emojis. I would caution you, don't go crazy. We're not in kindergarten, so make sure that you're using them sparingly and that they make sense, that you're not disrupting the flow of the content that you're working with. So just keep that in mind as you do that. I did mention that there was also the Emojipedia one. and that it would let you see what different things would look like. So let's say I wanted to use this face as one of my emojis. Well, then you could see what it would look like on a Google program, a Microsoft program, Samsung. You could see how those different emojis would show up. A good example of this is, one time I posted something and I wanted to use the firework emoji. So I put it in there, but it looked completely different, on my Mac, because I use a Mac at work. I was posted it on my Mac, but then when I got home and I looked at it on my Android phone, well, it looked different. The emoji looked completely different. So this is just a good way where you can see what those things will look like on any of those channels. Number 10, maximize your posting times. So if I'm speaking mostly on this one if you're using our service. So my guess is, we send those in the middle of the night, like at 4 a.m. So you wake up at 6 a.m. or, whenever the first time is that you check your email, you see the email and you're like, boop, and you just send it off and click it off just the first minute you see it. And while that's okay, you're going to get your best success, or you're going to get your best engagement by actually finding out when the best time to post is for your particular audience. So most of the social media platforms has tools or analytics for you to observe, but I just want to show you one on Facebook that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. So here I'm just showing you that I'm on the Marketing Ideas for Printers Facebook page. Then over here you'll see the Insights. That's the one you want to click on. When you click on Insights, you'll see the left-hand side menu, and you'll see this one called Posts. If you click on the Posts one, it's going to show you this thing of see when your fans are online. This is just an example I found off the internet, so this has nothing to do with us. But what I want to show you is, in this business, you can see over here that the most optimal time for them to post would be right around 8:30, kind of pretty much any day of the week. That's when they have their most fans. So this business, let's say, maybe the people are working during the day and they have young kids, so they don't get onto social media or platforms like this until after their kids are in bed. So if that's how your audience is, you should be posting in the evening after the kids have gone to bed. An example for me with Marketing Ideas for Printers, it seems like printers like to check their social media very early in the morning, right away when they wake up, or in the evening as things quiet down. And my guess is because you guys are busy and working during the day that you're not on social media. Makes sense. So this is just a reminder that you don't have to, push that post button the minute you see it come into your email, but to schedule it for optimal times that's going to give you the best results. Now, to schedule your posts, you're going to want to use a social media scheduling tool. So you can do this by copying and pasting that content into a scheduler like Buffer or Hootsuite, or you could even copy and paste it right into Odyssey if you're a Print MIS subscriber from us here at Marketing Ideas for Printers. So Facebook will also allow you to schedule posts right from within the platform, so be aware of that as well. So instead of just hitting the post button from us, copy and paste it onto your business page and then click the arrow button when you're posting it to get that scheduler tool. If you have any questions on that, feel free to just reach out. I can help you with that. Closing thoughts, I just want to mention that episode 2 of the Sell More Printing webinar series has additional tips about creating a content calendar, what's a good amount of marketing touches to shoot for every week, that kind of stuff. So when I send out the email tomorrow with this webinar on it, I would encourage you just to go on to the playlist there and take a peek at episode 2 on pretty much all things content. And then next, remember I said this on the last episode, but repetition causes recognition. So keep going one step and one day at a time, and the effort will pay off. Social media, like many other things, is not a one and done. There's really no finish line. You have to just keep working on it, and it'll pay off, and you'll keep seeing results from it. So keep that in mind. So there we are at the end. Thanks for joining us for tips to help you sell more printing. Our next webinar will be Wednesday, February 27th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. As always, if you have questions, concerns, comments, feel free to give us a call at 701-241-9204, or you can email me directly at rachel.neese@mi4p.com. Thanks so much for joining us, and I hope to see you right back here on Wednesday, February 27th.